honestly, have you ever been honest with yourself? Wow, does that pack a punch? The words being honest with yourself? It's not easy, is it? The hardest part about being honest with yourself is you're also having to look over your own flaws and your mistakes, how you treat others, how even you treat yourself, and most importantly, recognizing where you may have lost your way and your values. What are your values? Have you lost your values? Are you hiding your values with a mask? It's a complex thought. Being honest with yourself. It's not an easy task by any means. You're having to recognize when you did fail, when you were wrong, when you were rude, when you were selfish. But then you can also recognize the honesty and the value of your soul. When were you kind? When were you vulnerable? When did you set down your mask and really, truly show the rawness that is you? Like I've said before, being a life coach doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. Because for you to help others with their healthy mindset, you have to already be in a healthy mindset yourself. There is no huge trials and tribulations and vulnerability that are out of control before you take on the role of a life coach. You have to know as a life coach that things need to be in some form of control. That your actions and your routine can mirror to your clients. How you treat yourself and how you treat your day to day, you hope that your clients look up to you and want the same in their life. But we are also human. And even in what we think is the most perfect version of ourselves as an influencer, as a mentor, as a life coach, we still have our flaws. We still make mistakes. We still can be vulnerable. But it's the actions of which we take in those moments that really define who we are as individuals, as coaches. This was a really hard one for me. Being honest with myself. That was the hardest challenge I have ever had to overcome. You see, all of my 20s, I played a character. Matter of fact, I've been playing a character since my dad passed when I was 11. I shut down, I put a mask on, I rarely showed my emotions. I became very joyful in life and with my actions, but emotionless to my own values and self. The character I've been playing for 10 years, simply someone who enjoyed the fun. I was a party girl. I was loud. Some could say I was cocky and confident at the same time. I enjoyed and fed on comments of being told I was sexy or hot. I fed on the popularity. I fed on the spotlight. I so enjoyed being the center of attention. Was that really who I was? No, that was just a mask. Who I really was and who I continue to push to be is a genuine entrepreneur. Someone who has worn many hats to have lessons to be learned and even lessons to teach on business, on work ethic, on marketing. That's the honesty of me. I'm work driven. I prefer to be an introvert. Didn't see that coming, did you? For people out there who know me, I'm really considered an extrovert. I'm considered loud. I'm considered the life of the party. But in all honesty, I'm quiet. I'm a hard worker. I'm an introvert. I would rather spend time with my little one than bar hopping. I would rather spend time at home reading a book than out there socializing. You know, my group of friends is actually very small. Very small. One hand. Very small. Those are the closest friends I have, all fit on one hand, who know all my secrets, all my trials, all my tribulations, all my flaws. That's my friend group. And when I had to look at myself and be honest with myself, I had to recognize other flaws in me that were holding me back for letting me be the truest version of myself. For example, I was allowing being a victim of trafficking and a victim of being a sex addict to define me on my everyday. That kept me vulnerable. The woe is me. I've had a hard past. I've had a hard life. I struggled through hell. But that wasn't actually me at all. I'm a survivor. I stood back up and continued to push forward. That's what I should have been recognizing. I also noticed when I had to look at this honesty within self, how I would hold grudges. How I would hold grudges with people that did things to me 7 years ago, and I still was holding that grudge instead of recognizing we were young, we were naive, we could even be considered dumb. They may not be that person they were 6 years ago or 7 years ago as they are today. Let it go. Let their new actions define who they are today instead of allowing their old actions to give you a sense of definition of who they are today. That was a hard one. Letting go of how people have treated you from previous experiences with them and recognizing that growth is possible, that evolving as we get older is possible, and we need to give individuals a second chance, our friends a second chance, our family a second chance. Being honest with oneself, I had to be honest with myself on many different platforms. Recognizing not only do I wear this mask of being loud and proud and confident, but also recognizing how scared and vulnerable I was to allow myself to be myself. And what is that? What is Monica now? Well, I can now look myself in the mirror and say, I don't put up with bullshit. I can look myself in the mirror and say, all I can control is what is in my day-to-day, what is in my bubble. Outside of that, I can't control any of what's outside my bubble. What I've learned about being honest with self is it's okay to wear both the loud and proud and the quiet, silent individual all in the same bubble. It's okay to go into work and be productive, be good at what they do, be good at what I do, and be proud and confident about it, as much as it is okay to go home and put on my sweatpants and my t-shirt and color books with my kiddo and relax and have that sense of peace and quiet that I just thrive off of when I do get it. Coming into 2020, a lot of us can look at 2020 as an year right now. Pandemic, financial crisis, economic crisis, political crisis. The crises they just keep building. There's a ladder, and I feel like we're still climbing that ladder of crisis. But I'm not going to regret coming into 2020 by any means. New Year's Eve for me was honestly the most beautiful New Year's Eve I've had in a long time. Well, why do you say that? Well, my kid was off with my ex-husband for their family Christmas vacation out of state. And I had the house to myself. And I was actually so looking forward to these 10 days where my daughter was away, to have these 10 days to myself. And New Year's Eve came with such a beautiful presence. It was quiet. I didn't watch a movie. I didn't even watch the ball drop. I didn't watch Times Square or any of the exciting festivities that TV entertainment can give us. Matter of fact, I had a late night steak dinner at home, enjoyed a glass of wine or two at home, and didn't even realize it turned midnight until 5 minutes after midnight, where then I went outside on my back deck and literally took in my surroundings. It was dark, so dark, but the stars were beautiful. It was quiet, so quiet, because no one really wants to spend time in a small town like this and on New Year's Eve. People were at parties and whatnot. You didn't hear fireworks going off or anything. And in that moment, I was counting my blessings and so grateful for where I was and how I was ringing in the new year. It's in its own sense this new presence of who I was as an individual, as an adult, as someone who was evolving as a professional, yet at the same time evolving as a mom, all in one. It was just this moment of rebirth that is so difficult to describe, but so beautiful. In those moments, in those few days after, this is when I recognized how I was genuinely being honest with myself for the first time in my life. That I wasn't pushing the envelope to be in the spotlight. That I wasn't pushing the envelope to be loud and proud. That I wasn't pushing the envelope to be the life of the party. That because the life of the party was the life of the party for me, for myself. I didn't need to have anyone else around to know I was my own life of the party. That I had come so far, and I was still standing my ground, and I was evolving. That was such a beautiful moment. Those were the most beautiful days. Now, even when we are the most honest with ourselves, and that takes time, it doesn't happen overnight. You can't, at the end of this, decide that this evening you're going to start journaling and be honest with yourself right now and then. Like, it just doesn't happen that way. Being honest with yourself starts in steps. It starts in steps of recognizing little things. And the little things can be as simple as, I haven't talked to a friend in a long time. I know we went our separate ways and we aren't on the same page anymore, but I genuinely just want to reach out and say, hey, how are you doing? And get to know them again. And maybe even it's as simple as forgiving someone that has been so difficult for you to forgive. Maybe it's letting go of actions by simple little grudges you've kept for so long, and forgiving those actions to what has been holding you back, from an individual taking on certain actions that affected you, or yourself taking on certain actions that affected you and you're holding grudges back. And maybe it's just that simple step of starting to let go of what that is. Maybe it's also letting go of something as simple as a flaw of, I recognize I am on my cell phone constantly. My kid sees it, I see it. I'm going to make sure that from certain times of the evening, my phone is put away and I am fully present for my child. It's easier said than done, but I personally try to do it every day. I try to put down my phone, where it's just she and I'm filling her cup with coloring, or playing with sand, or her water table, or playing in her playset kitchen. I do generally try to have that time where it's just she and I enjoying each other's company and talking about the day. And yes, I am human, so there are days where I'm just like, listen, girlfriend, we're going to spend an hour like one-on-one time, but it's not going to be the 3 or 4 hours that I normally get to spend with you, because mama just wants to relax. I want to put a movie on. I just want to put my feet up, and it's 6 o'clock, so mama's going to have a glass of wine. It's been a long day. It's okay to have days like that. Completely understandable. But it's okay to have those days like that, and it's okay to accept yourself for who you are when you start accepting who you are by understanding the honesty within yourself and being honest for who you are instead of what is expected from you. How many times in our life have we compromised our values, our characteristics, our personality for another individual, for a family member, for a friend, for a partner? How many times have we changed our ideas and beliefs because of someone in our life, because we wanted so bad for them to be in our life, so we did the compromising? Yeah, it's a big one, right? I've been through that. You know, one of the first things I come out to say more often now than in my past when I'm dating or with friends is, and I'm starting those new relationships or friendships, is I come out and say, listen, I recognize in myself that I personally respect and look for my faith in the Baha'i way. A Baha'i is a respect of all religions and keeping an open mind to all faiths and keeping the faith centered. Faith-centered religion of respecting all other religions. It's pretty complex, and there's only one large temple, which is in Chicago. And some people, you're gonna get nags from people all the time. I do. Oh my goodness. If I'm that upfront about being Baha'i and respecting all religions and respecting all faiths and having faith in the universe, having faith in God all at the same time, and having faith in Mother Nature, and them listening to me saying, I have faith and I'm so content in being this open-minded, global individual. Oh my goodness, I've heard it all. I've heard, wow, so you believe in Satan? You believe in worshiping him, right? Nah. There's a good and an evil. There's a hell and a heaven. So often, when I reach out and be as honest with others as I am with myself when it comes to something as simple yet so controversial as religion, it amazes me how many people push back. It amazes me how many people are like, whoa, not for me. Wow, no, I don't know what you're about, but I'm not about that. Without actually getting to know me or understand me. I understand that I pray to God. But I also believe in universal energies. I believe in universal signs. And for some, when you say that, they're like, well, that's God. And I'm like, yes. For many, all that is the same thing. But for some, they're all beautifully unique and different, yet part of the same. If you're following. So, what happens when we become so honest with ourselves that we can look in the mirror and be like, oh, this is who I am. This is how I want to be. Well, honestly, there's a sense of comfort. There's a sense of comfort of recognizing, I am doing the best I can. I am evolving and changing and growing and learning as I go. And those in my surroundings that want to follow with me and be part of my journey, great, wonderful. I'm blessed. But those who don't, well, that's the key. Those who don't no longer affect you. When you're honest with yourself and you have dig deep down to your most darkest demons and the lightest of light inside of you, and really have put a fingerprint to your identity, the little things, the rude comments, the individuals that you have loved your whole life, that you've been there for your whole life, that have simply stepped away, it doesn't affect you anymore, because you can look yourself in the mirror and be like, I am being the most honest version of myself today and tomorrow and this week. This is who I am. I myself, I'm a strong, independent mom. I work hard. I'm passionate and compassionate. I used to aim to please everybody, but now I only aim to please myself and my child and my bubble. I used to take care of everybody. It was as though it was expected of me to take care of everybody else, to give the big gifts, to take them grocery shopping and buy their groceries. I used to go above and beyond everybody else. I had to be honest with myself and say, is that really fulfilling me? Or is it feeling like it's a need for me because I've been doing it for so long that it's expected of me? And when I recognized it was expected of me instead of what was actually fulfilling my soul, and I had to cut that cord, that was a rude awakening. But I recognized when I was honest with myself and I put forth that energy towards my own bubble, I am in the most beautiful oasis of my life presently that I've been in my entire life. And it didn't happen overnight, and it took heartbreak. It took losing friends, even a couple family members, of recognizing I'm no longer caring for you. I need to care for myself and my child and what is important for me. And when I did so, the rude awakening was at times kind of severe. But I recognized that's something I need to do for me. This point in my life, and talking with you and being upfront with you and wanting to help you grow and evolve, is because I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I see what happens when you evolve. I see the oasis you can create yourself when you take certain steps to improve your mindset, to improve your way of life, to improve your routine. And it's beautiful, guys. It's stunning. It's stunning. And when you get there, the little things that used to irritate the heck out of you for years, even weeks and days, no longer irritate you, because you know what? You've already recognized that I have built a healthy mindset for myself, and because of that, that's good enough for me. You get that? It's good enough for me. It doesn't have to be good enough for everybody else, but it's good enough for me. I stand my ground. I've set my boundaries. I am good enough for me. And that's key. I hope you learned something from today. Reach out to me at any time. Let's start this journey. Let's help you and continue to help you evolve and change. And as I do so for you, you're helping me as well. I'm always learning something new about myself. It's awesome. It's pretty cool. Have a beautiful day. And remember, there is more to life. You just need to take the first step. Bye, guys.